I do.
Thank you, Ron. Sir, please tell us your name. Spell for us your first and last name.
My name is Eric, E-R-I-C. Last name Brothers, B-R-O-T-H-E-R-S.
And what is your profession or occupation?
I am a crime scene analyst with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office.
You work with Ms. Gross?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And for how long have you been at the Sheriff's Office in that capacity?
Since October of 2001.
And would you please briefly tell us what your education, background, and training is?
I have a bachelor's degree in forensic science from the University of Central Florida. I am a certified crime scene investigator by the International Association for Identification, and I have successfully completed over 1,000 hours of specialized training in crime scene investigation.
I want to direct your attention to the evening hours of September the 4th of last year, 2014.
Yes, sir.
You asked to assist in an investigation that concerned a shooting where two individuals were injured in Sanford at the corner of 13th Place and Olean.
Yes, I was.
Did you actually go to the crime scene itself?
No, sir, I did not.
Where were you asked to respond to?
I was initially asked to respond to the Orlando Regional Medical Center in downtown Orlando.
And what was the purpose for going there?
To photograph one of the victims of the shooting and to collect his clothing and other evidence if possible.
Okay. And who was that victim?
His name was, his name was Kendall Clark.
Okay. And did you make contact with Mr. Clark?
Yes, I did.
And they approached the
Yes.
witness. Were you able to collect his clothing?
Yes, I was.
It had been taken from him?
It had been taken from him, yes.
And showing you State's Exhibit, well, first of all, State's Exhibit 7, is that the gentleman that you went down to see and to photograph, Mr. Clark?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you photographed him from the front there.
I did?
Was it your understanding that he had an injury to his buttocks?
Yes.
Did you request that you be able to photograph the injury?
I requested that, yes, sir.
Okay, and did he agree with your request?
He did not agree with my request, no, sir.
Okay. Did he agree with any request or cooperate in any way with you?
No, he did not.
Okay. Now, did you recover the items of clothing you
Yes.
indicated?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit W for identification, and you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes, I do.
And what's depicted in that photograph?
This is one of the articles of clothing that I collected from Mr. Clark. It is a cut pair of red basketball shorts.
Okay. And State's Exhibit X, what do we see there?
State's Exhibit X is a close-up photograph of the back of the red shorts where there is what appears to be some suspected blood and a projectile entrance on the shorts.
Okay. And you took those photographs?
Yes, I did.
Are they a fair and accurate depiction of the shorts from those two different angles?
Yes, sir.
And the shorts, are those contained in State's Exhibit Y for identification?
Yes, they are.
Did you bag them up as they are here?
Yes, I did.
Is the case number unique to this case, a description of the item, and the date you collected them, and your initials on there?
Yes, sir.
And were they sealed up with the evidence tape here, with your initials over the seal?
Yes.
Okay. If you could take those scissors and open up the bag, take a look inside and see if they appear to be the shorts. First of all, does the bag appear to have been tampered in any way from the time you placed them in there?
No, it does not. Yes, sir.
Okay. I would move states X, WX, and Y into evidence, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
W, X, and Y will come in as States Exhibits 23 through 25.
Yes, to publish 23, 24, and publish 7 photograph.
You may do so.
Clark. This is number 7. And is that, in fact, Mr. Clark?
Yes, sir.
Number 23.
Yes.
What's depicted there?
That is just an overall photograph I took of those red basketball shorts.
And that, is those the front of the shorts?
Yes.
And then states 24, and I think, Mr. Brothers, there's a laser pointer there.
This is,
States 24 is now up on the screen, and I'm going to zoom it in. This is the back of the short showing the projectile damage.
yes, sir.
Can you show us the projectile damage?
The projectile damage is that small little area right in there. Right in there.
And the other area appeared to you to be blood?
Yes, it did.
This dark area?
Yes.
In your experience, did that appear to be consistent with a projectile wound to the buttock area?
Yes.
Now, after visiting or going to where Mr. Clark was, were you asked to proceed to another area?
Yes, I was.
And where was that?
That was the Arnold Palmer Hospital, also in downtown Orlando.
And that's close by to RMC, correct?
Yep. Yes, sir.
And what was your purpose for going there?
My initial purpose was to photograph and collect the clothing from the second victim in this incident.
Were you able to photograph and this was Jeremiah Taylor?
Yes, sir.
A young boy?
Yes.
Were you able to photograph him?
No, I was not.
And why was that?
At the time of my arrival at Arnold Palmer Hospital, Mr. Taylor was in surgery, and I was unable to photograph him.
Did you collect some items of his clothing?
Yes, I did.
And most notably, did you collect a shirt?
Yes.
And may I approach the witness one?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit Z, double A, and double B. And go ahead and take a look at those 3 exhibits. Have you seen those exhibits before?
Yes, I have.
And with respect to Z and double A, are those photographs of the shirt from Mr. Taylor?
Yes, they are.
And states BB is what?
States BB is the actual T-shirt itself that I collected and sealed in this bag.
And again, does that have the case number unique to this case, a description of the item, when you collected it, your name, your seal, and your initials over that seal?
Yes, it does.
Does that packaging appear to be in substantially the same condition it was in when you placed the shirt in there and sealed it up,
Yes, it does.
other than the clerk sticker here? Okay. I would move Z, double A and double B into evidence as state's exhibits next.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Z, double A, and double B will come into evidence as states 26 through 28.
Cut open 28 and confirm that sheet dirt that you placed in there is still there.
Yes, sir. The T-shirt is still there.
They have published 26 and 27 photographs.
Yes, you may.
'26 is up on the screen now, Mr. Brothers, and that's the shirt that you collected.
Yes, it is.
And did you evaluate and take a look at the shirt and determine what, like the stomach area or above the belt on the left side?
Excuse me, on the right, on the right side, not the left side, the right side.
Okay.
So in this area, yes, sir.
Okay.
Down towards the bottom.
And does State's Exhibit 27 show that area of projectile damage?
Yes, sir, it does.
And would you point that out, please?
It is the small, dark-colored defect right in there.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Cross.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. May Mr. Brothers be excused?
Yes, he may.
Thank you very much, sir. You are excused.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody need a recess? No? Call your next witness, please.
Or Singleton.
I do.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell it for the record?
I'm Investigator Doris Singleton, D-O-R-I-S-S-I-N-G-L-E-T-O-N.
And how are you employed?
I'm employed with the City of Sanford Police Department.
And how long have you been so employed?
I was hired in December of 2004, so a little over 10 years.
Now, back on September 4th of 2014, were you employed as an investigator at the Sanford Police Department?
Yes, I was.
And what were your responsibilities that day?
I am part of what's called a Neighborhood Response Unit. It's basically a proactive investigative unit that goes after drugs, guns, and gambling, prostitution, those type things. But we also will answer any hot calls, as this was.
And you say hot call. What's a hot call?
Hot call would just be any priority call where there's possible violence. We'll respond to those as well.
Okay. Now, at some point during that, what shift were you working? Let me ask you that.
We don't have any particular shift. It's just whatever it is. Normally we work afternoons into the evenings, but sometimes that can change.
Okay. So at some point while you were working on that September 4th of 2014 day, did you respond to the intersection of 13th Place and Oleander in Sanford?
Yes, I did.
And why did you respond there?
We responded there in reference to a shooting where I believe dispatch had already advised that there was 2 victims, one being a child.
Okay. And when you arrived, how quick after the dispatch came out did you get there?
I was only a few blocks out, so by the time we heard the call, I was probably on scene within a minute, I would guess.
You were one of the first officers to respond.
I believe so.
When you first arrived on scene, what did you observe?
The first thing I noticed is 3 or 4 people over a child. I could see a bike next to him, and he was on the ground, so I assumed that he was the child that had been shot.
And did you go to that child?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And are you equipped with a body cam?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you actually have it on your shoulder?
I actually have it. It's right here.
And can you tell us about how that body cam works?
Okay, sure. This body camera has actually, I'll have to stand up, has a battery and switch down here. And this is actually the camera and the recorder itself. So it is always recording, meaning that it's always recording and there's something being filmed by the camera, but it's not going to be saved and be retrievable until I activate it and turn it on. Once I do that, it will buffer back 30 seconds prior to when I turned it on. Those 30 seconds prior will be video only, but not audio.
And you were equipped with that body cam on that September 4th of 2014?
Yes.
Okay, first witness, Your Honor. I'm going to show you what's been marked in evidence as State's Exhibit J. Do you recognize State's J?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize that?
That's a video I looked at yesterday, and that's a video of my body camera from that day, a portion of it.
And is the portion that's on here a fair and accurate representation of your arrival on scene?
Yes.
Your State would request to move into evidence State's Exhibit J.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit J will come into evidence as State's Exhibit 29.
I request permission to publish.
You may do so.
Oh, thank you. Investigator Singleton, did you remain on scene for some time after your initial response?
Yes.
And your responsibilities while you remained on scene were just primarily scene security?
I stayed in the area where he was at until he was taken by FD, and then scene security after that.
When you say FD, what do you mean?
I'm sorry, fire and rescue, ambulance.
All right, no further questions.
Thank you, Cross.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You say you stayed on scene. Can you tell us approximately how long did you stay on scene afterward?
If I had to guess, I would say probably 30 minutes to an hour.
And were you there while other officers were interviewing potential witnesses?
I was probably there while they were doing that. I don't recall being next to them and hearing any of it.
So you weren't paying it. That wasn't any of. You weren't concerned with that at that time.
I wasn't tasked with that, no.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
May Investigator Singletary be excused? Singleton, I'm sorry, be excused?
She may.
Thank you very much. You're excused. Call your next witness.
State of Florida rests its case in chief, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a few matters we need to take up outside your presence, so if you'll put your notepads face down on the chair and follow the deputy back there into the jury room. Why don't we take a 10-minute recess, too? Court will be in recess for 10 minutes.
Remain seated. Court is back in session.
Please be seated. Thank you. I'll be back soon. Sure. No, I don't want the jury yet.
I don't believe at this time I have any legal cause to bring any motions.
Okay. Are there any witnesses the defense is intending on calling?
We had intended, or are intending on calling Benjamin Duarte. I, however, had told her to be here tomorrow morning. I did just try to call her. I left a voicemail, but whether I'll hear back from her today, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I guess we're at a point that we're done for the day.
I anticipated that the case in chief for the state would take the entire day.
Your Honor, we would like to bring to the court's attention, you indicated you'd received the report, and we did too. Take some testimony of a witness to the events that transpired between the witness, Kimberly Taylor, and two individuals, one of whom was present in the court. And we would ask that the court entertain some brief testimony concerning that.
Okay. We'll go ahead. This is
Ask also that you keep individuals who are in the court room presently.
okay. Could you please identify? Okay. We'll have. Nobody's to leave the courtroom during the course of this testimony until we finish with this proceeding.
Well, actually,
People can come in, but nobody.
there's only actually one individual that needs to stay.
Okay.
And that's the lady in the black dress, black and white striped dress.
Okay. I have three people on the front row, and I can't see colors of dresses. I see black dresses. Who? Okay. If you'll please remain in the courtroom. The others are free to come and go as you please. Have a seat. Remain in the courtroom until we're finished with this proceeding. Go ahead and call your witness.
We call
Ma'am, have a seat.
Max Carrick.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, would you please tell us your name and spell for us your first and last name?
Yes, my name is Max Carrick, and it's M-A-X. Last name is K-A-R-R-I-C-K.
And you are an intern with the State Attorney's Office?
Yes, I am.
Presently?
Yes.
Legal intern?
Yes.
And this morning, during the break in Jeremiah Taylor's testimony, did you make some observations concerning the lady who was just identified
Yes, I did.
to the court?
Yes.
And was there another individual as well?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe what she...
She was an older African-American female, had on a red hat, was maybe 5'2", 5'3", she was short in stature.
Now, during the break in the proceedings, did you have occasion to go outside the courtroom?
Yes. When Jeremiah was taken off the stand, he was put into one of the other rooms, and in order to maintain the sequestration, Kim had to be taken outside, and I happened to go out at the same time because I was going to use the restroom. However, upon leaving, I noticed that the defendant's family happened to be in the same area, and in order to keep Kim from becoming uncomfortable, I stood near her for a period of time.
And did you overhear anything being said to Kim by this lady who's just been identified in court and the other individual, the lady with the red hat?
Not initially. I stood there for about a minute or two and made sure that Kim was comfortable, and I walked away to the bathroom. And about a minute later, I came back and found the woman who was just identified and the other who I mentioned with the shorter woman with the red cap standing there talking to Kim. Upon walking up on them, I overheard them stating, "You don't have to do this, you should interfere, he's just a little boy," and carrying on, essentially trying to convince Kim to prevent Jeremiah from testifying any further and to stop her from testifying at that point.
Upon hearing this, did you say or do anything at that point?
I advised Kim that she was under sequestration and wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. I advised the two females that they should not be talking to her, and they both completely ignored me, so I came back into the courtroom, grabbed one of the courtroom deputies, went back outside with the deputy, and tried to isolate Kim.
Okay.
Yes.
Try to get Kim to interfere and have Jeremiah not testify?
Yes, I did.
Now, when the deputy came out with you, did they cease at that point?
Once the deputy showed up, they stopped talking but didn't immediately leave the area. It wasn't until the deputy actually took Kim and removed her from the area that they were separated.
That's all the questions I have regarding Mr. Carrick.
I don't know if you have any involvement in this.
I
Or,
have no dog in this fight.
okay, so,
I would ask the court to have the lady who was identified.
okay, let's just have Mr. Carrick, you may sit
Yeah.
down. Okay.
Have her simply identify herself by name, her address, and her date of birth.
Okay, ma'am, can you please come up to the podium? Yes, ma'am. Okay, and if you'll please raise your right hand to be sworn.
Yes.
We're just going to have her remain at the podium because it's just going to take a moment. Could you please state your name?
I'm Deidre Smith,
And how do you spell your first name?
D-E-I-D-R-E.
And is Smith the traditional S-M-I-T-H?
Yes.
Okay, and what is your current address?
121 Fair Lane,
And what city is that in?
Sanford, Florida, 32773.
Okay, thank you very much. You may take your seat.
Ask her date of birth.
Oh, your date of birth.
31386.
Thank you very much. Now you may take your seat. Anything further on this matter?
Not presently, no.
Okay. Y'all are free to come and go as you want, even you, Ms. Smith, at this point in time. So I'll just have the jury come back in, and I'll tell them that I have another matter that has come up, so they don't think that anybody else is causing any delays, and I think they'll be happy to be leaving early today, but we'll have them come at 9 in the morning, and we'll finish up then. But before I do that, and before we would recess, Mr. Butts, I want to advise you of some rights that you have, and one of those rights is during the trial you have the right to remain silent. That means that during this trial you don't have to say anything, do anything, or prove anything. You could just sit there. But you also have the right to testify on your own behalf if you want to. And if you do testify, you're subject to the same type of cross-examination as any other witness, which would include questions about any prior criminal record, felony convictions. Have you had an opportunity, I'm not going to ask you the question now, but have you had an opportunity to discuss with your attorneys whether or not you want to testify? You have talked to them? Okay. And I'm telling you what the rights are because I'm going to give you more opportunity to think about it overnight. And you may want to talk to them when we recess today before they leave as to that matter. And I'm going to ask you again in the morning what your decision is and if you need additional time, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. With that, let's go ahead and bring the jury in. Can you wait until after the jury? Yeah.
Jury is present.
Please be seated. And ladies and gentlemen, don't get too comfortable. Be seated. I don't want you to have to sit back there. There's some other matters that I have to take care of, so I'm going to let you go early today. We told you this would be a 2-day trial, and this will not delay our finishing the trial tomorrow. So I'm going to have you come back at 9 o'clock tomorrow is when I'd like to get started. So if you'll be here, start to gather about 8:45. I'm going to give you my same instructions for the overnight recess, and that is that you're not to drive by any of the places described in the evidence for the purpose of doing an independent investigation. You're not to read or listen to any radio, television, or newspaper reports about the case. You're not to read or create any emails, text messages, tweets, blogs, or social networking pages about the case. Do not use any type of electronic device to go on the internet to do independent research about the case, people, places, things, or terminology. Do not have any discussions with each other or with anyone else about this case. Do I have your assurances that you will all abide by these instructions? Okay, I have a yes from everybody. Thank you very much. Turn your notepads face down. Follow the deputy into the jury room. Have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Be seated. Okay, Ms. Smith, you indicated you had a question or something? Yeah. I don't know. The state may want to investigate whether or not they're going to move forward on the issue of talking to Miss Taylor. Pardon? Well, she's under the. Well, it's not necessarily what you would talk to her about. If the state wants to investigate whether or not you have broken any rules or laws, that they're entitled to investigate that. Okay? Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No, do you have no more questions for me?
No, I don't. No. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is there anything else that we need to take up before we recess for the day?
I may be a little premature. We could have a kind of an initial charge conference, and then
We could do that,
know
go
for
over,
certain
do you want to go over some of the jury instructions at this time?
We can go over them, Judge. I mean, I know that he has not made any decisions yet.
Well, we don't have to go over the defendant testifying or not testifying portion of them, but,
All the other portions we can go over.
okay. Let's go ahead, if you'll get them out, we can get that started. Make use of the time. Okay, the first one is 3.1, Introduction to Final Instructions. Any objections from the state?
no objection.
From the defense?
No.
3.2, Statement of Charge. Any objections from the state?
No objection.
From the defense?
No objection.
3.4, Lesser Included Crimes, which is indicating that lesser included of aggravated battery, felony battery, attempted manslaughter by act, and battery. Is either side requesting any of those or all of those lessers?
We'd like them all included.
You'd like them all? Okay, with that request, is there any objections to 3.4 from the state,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Then there's the definition, 6.1, Introduction to Attempted Homicide. That includes justifiable attempt homicide, excusable attempt homicide. Any objections from the state,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
6.4, Attempted Second-Degree Murder. Any objections from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
8.4, Aggravated Battery. Any objection from the state,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
8.5, Felony Battery. Any objections from the state,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
6.6, Attempted Manslaughter by Act. Any objection from the state,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
8.3, Battery. Any objection from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
3.3B, Reclassification by Carrying a Weapon. Any objection from the state,
No.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Further findings, firearm instruction. Any objections from the state,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
3.6, subsection O, transferred intent. Any objections from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
3.7, plea of not guilty, reasonable doubt, burden of proof. Any objections from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
3.8A, evidence of other crimes, wrongs, or acts. Any objections from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
I don't know that it's
Well,
applicable.
you
I
know,
think
that-
this might have to do with Mr. Clark.
Yeah, that's it.
There's been evidence of Mr. Clark was shot, and so that would be the evidence of other crimes, wrongs, or acts.
Okay.
He's not being charged with those acts.
Okay.
Okay. 3.9, weighing the evidence. We'll have to wait and determine whether or not number 6, 7, or 8 apply. So we'll wait for that, and also whether or not the defendant is testifying, because that's included in that instruction, and also included in 39A. So we'll wait until tomorrow for those. 3.9C, eyewitness identification. Any objections from the state,
No, no, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
3.10, rules for deliberation. Any objections from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
3.11, cautionary instruction. Any objections from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
3.12, verdict. Any objection from the state,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
3.13, submitting case to the jury. Any objection from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
And then the verdict form has the lessers of ag battery, felony battery, attempted manslaughter by act, battery, then the reclassification and further findings. Any objections from the state,
No objection.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
You know, I think the case number looks like it may be wrong.
Okay?
It's 2756.
So if you'll make that change.
We will.
Okay, is there, at this point in time, is there any other instructions being requested by the state,
No, Your Honor.
by the defense? No, Judge. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll review 3.9, weighing the evidence, and 3.9A tomorrow, and the state will make the change to the case number on the verdict form. All right, is there anything else that we need to take up or we can take up before we recess for the day?
Not that I can think of.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, court will be in recess until 9 o'clock in the morning. Have a good evening.